This video is brought to you by Surfshark. Stick around to hear more about the special offer they're providing to the entire upper echelon community. All right, how many people watching this right now feel that the relative quality of online products and services is decreasing over time? I'm talking about Amazon, Google, Facebook, basically any long-standing internet ecosystem. But my point is that while technology itself may be advancing, the quality of that technology for everyday people like you and me is going down rapidly. Let me start with Amazon. There's a few different examples later on, obviously, but if we're talking about the degradation of quality, Amazon is probably the best place for us to really begin. Established in 1994, originally as an online bookseller of all things, Amazon is now the largest retail website on planet Earth, at least by market cap. Servicing 131 different countries worldwide, Amazon is a global standard in the realm of retail commerce, but the quality of their service over the past 8 to 10 years is falling dramatically, and as per the title of the video, it's happening on purpose. It's a bit of a complicated picture, but let me go step by step. How many people are aware that Amazon star ratings have nothing at all to do with a numerical average? Most people assume, rightly so, that when you see 4 out of 5 stars or 3 out of 5 stars, it somehow indicates an average score between all of the posted reviews. Because it used to, right? Back before 2015, that is. But now, disclosed in multiple locations all over their website, they use, quote, a machine learning model instead of a simple average, end quote. On its face, that should probably raise quite a few eyebrows because a weighted system of designating which reviews are more or less credible is already a major red flag when the specifics of how it works internally are never being disclosed. But far beyond that kind of opaque secrecy, Amazon has been losing the war against fake reviews for the better part of a decade. To their credit, they certainly do take some action against them, but the actions that they take appear to be performative as opposed to effective, and the impacts that they have are negligible at best. Here's an example of what I mean. According to an Amazon spokesperson in 2021, quote, our approximation is that less than 1% of reviews are inauthentic, end quote, which was said by Sharon Chiarella, former vice president of community shopping. Less than 1%, huh? Except according to literally any other third-party study anywhere else online, that number is more like 40 to 50%. In fact, the lowest third-party figures that I could find came from the UK Department of Business and Trade, which cite between 11 and 13% of Amazon reviews as fake for the home, kitchen, electronics, and sports industries, which is 11 to 13 times higher than what the company is ever willing to publicly acknowledge. Still, that's only one piece of the puzzle, because fake reviews wouldn't mean anything if they didn't have an actual impact. But they do have an impact. According to Capital One shopping research, fake reviews not only boost initial product sales, they also contribute to a 38% increase in demand with just one additional star rating as the effect of them. On top of that, according to the FTC, purchasing fake reviews can generate a 1900% return on investment, which makes them tremendously effective and extremely profitable. Big deal, right? Fake reviews are a thing and they've always been a thing, who cares? But the issue is compounded when we consider the growth of Amazon's marketplace. See, Amazon doesn't sell its own products anymore. Actually, I guess it does, but they're just a tiny fraction of the overall business model. Primarily, Amazon operates a third-party marketplace, where independent vendors not only use the distribution network that Amazon has developed, they also utilize their on-platform advertising network, and that's where the problem gets turbocharged. Having identified just how profitable these fake reviews can be, vendors then amplify their products with Amazon's in-house advertising network. You'll notice that every time you search for something, the top results are always sponsored or advertisements. There's a purpose for that, which leads to a very specific and succinctly put problem, best explained by this quote from the conclusion segment of a study called Misinformation and Mistrust, the Equilibrium Effects of Fake Reviews on Amazon.com. Quote, ratings inflated by fake reviews shift demand from high quality to low quality products and allow low quality sellers to charge higher prices, end quote. To be completely honest here, I could fluff out the video with a whole lot more. There's plenty of research on the downward spiral of quality all over Amazon. But that one quote by itself really does an excellent job of summarizing. Low-quality products, inflated by fake reviews, are able to charge higher prices now with more visibility. If you get the feeling that product quality on Amazon is going down as of late, that's because it is. the quality decisively is going down, fueled by manipulation of the platform systems, all of which is profitable for Amazon as a company as it happens, which is our logical segue into the real reason why technology is getting worse, and that is profit. Before the meat and potatoes, if you will, today's video is brought to you by Surfshark, which is a VPN service and also the longest running individual sponsor of the entire channel. VPNs have a number of different uses, such as helping prevent certain types of phishing attacks, DNS tunneling, DDoS attacks in particular, and they also help prevent some of the rampant data tracking/harvesting practices perpetrated by big tech companies. For people that care more about the entertainment side of things, Surfshark unlocks additional content on streaming websites, a bunch of them, by changing your geographic region, which opens up a wealth of options in your video library. Surfshark also gets around regional censorship, websites being blocked in your region by, for example, a government, and it helps protect your IP address with encryption, modification, and more. I say this every time, but Surfshark operates completely separate infrastructure from NordVPN, and Surfshark also maintains a warrant canary. On top of this, I've seen people talk about this a number of times, so I thought I would clarify. Surfshark does not keep logs, and that policy has been audit verified by Deloitte, with a public report in tandem to it. In the world of VPN services, that seemed like a pertinent thing to add. If you click the link down below, surfshark.com/echelon, you can get 4 extra months for free with a special pricing offer. Again, link down below, surfshark.com/echelon for an extra 4 months of the service for free with a special offer. Big thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring the channel. Let's move on to another example, Google. Google used to be the internet highway, if you will. In the early stages of the online world, Google was the portal where you could find pretty much everything, because it acted like a sort of conduit, which took you anywhere you wanted to go. People rightly fell in love with that concept, and Google deservedly became the primary search engine for pretty much the entire world outside of mainland China. However, over time, the methodology and business incentives behind Google began changing. Where once upon a time you would search for a topic and end up reading a history blog or a science paper or someone's opinion, who knows, Google is now implementing AI summaries and replacing the top set of results with advertisements. Big deal, you might say. Advertising has always been there. But the best way to showcase what's going on is with visuals. Look at this. These are examples of Google search advertising results from 2006, all the way back then, through 2019. Over the span of 14 years, Google has made at least 9 separate iterative changes, slowly making the advertisements that they serve on practically every single search that you make now as indistinguishable as possible compared to the regular results. By the way, breaking script here, there was a whole set of allegations that kind of disappeared rather quickly. I did a video about them before they disappeared, of how Google would alter your searches to include more monetizable terms, right? So if you searched for some random product, right, just like volleyballs, they'd alter it to include like brand names or specific other keywords that let them then serve a bunch of different high-paying ads on the search, right? And the lawsuit that led to this discovery led to articles which were stripped down by the publisher. So it was a whole big thing, and I don't know if it's a fact or not, but the entire thing is really sketchy. Anyway, back on task. In the past, you could very clearly see what was paid for and what wasn't, right? It was just so clearly outlined in how they did the results. But now, after a multitude of design changes, the advertisements that they serve are as close as is legally permissible to the regular results that they give, because the purpose of Google is no longer centered on opening a portal to the rest of the online world. It's about forcing you into an advertising storefront. There's some pretty nasty side effects here as well, like how malware and phishing scams can routinely use Google's own advertising portal to spread their infected programs. But focusing on the conceptual side, Google has shifted over the span of about 2 decades from serving up unique and interesting content, thereby transporting you all over the world in the process, to summarizing content with mediocre AI slop, or tricking you into visiting their customers' web pages. In essence, Google doesn't even really want you to browse anymore. They want you to type something, read the summary, and never end up leaving the search engine. If you feel like Google has gotten worse over time, that's because it has. People have resorted to using or specifying a Reddit search now instead of their typical Google results, right? Like I routinely hear that in the comment section. People are like, oh, well, I put Reddit now after every one of my searches because that's how I get real people's opinions or real people's experiences and not advertising slop. Or they use bizarre tricks to try and circumvent the new AI summary tools, right? There's like an entire industry around that now, because the quality of content that you now find natively in your Google browser is heavily and quickly degrading. You don't have to take my word for it either, by the way. According to a German study titled Is Google Getting Worse? A longitudinal investigation of SEO spam in search engines, quote, we conduct two main analyses. First, we investigate what kind of content is retrieved by product review queries and how much SEO influences rankings in this web genre. We correlate page level quality attributes with search engine rank and find strong relationships between them. Although we cannot predict the rank of individual pages, at the population level, we can conclude that higher ranked pages are on average more optimized, more monetized with affiliate marketing, and they show signs of lower text quality, end quote. I'll say it again for people in the back. More monetization and lower text quality. The results of your Google searches are literally getting worse over time. How about Facebook? This one's a little bit more philosophical, but Facebook used to be an actual social network. You could log in and pretty much see a feed of content from people you physically know, all in a centralized location. That was incredible, like first of its kind social landmark incredible. But over time, the platform has completely redefined itself. Instead of real content from people you know, Facebook is now a nonstop algorithmically driven feed of suggestions with AI spam in the mix and reposted political garbage. In place of human experiences, you now have advertisements, tons of them, served up by a machine learning model whose sole purpose is to keep you browsing the feed for as long as possible. Social network is now a twisted parody of itself, because Facebook has become the antithesis of social behavior, with a business model predicated on keeping people technologically isolated. In the beginning, Facebook was more supplemental. You had your friends and you could talk to them even more after school or work or whatever because of this website. But now, Facebook is part of the attention economy, where the purpose isn't to connect people, the purpose is to monetize them. And the primary side effect of that is degradation of quality. In 2022, for example, Facebook literally changed its own algorithm to better compete with TikTok, which is ADHD Zoomer garbage that lowers attention spans verifiably. If you feel like technology is getting worse, that's because technology is getting worse. How about one more? Sometimes when I do videos like this, a few people manage to entirely miss the premise, so let me try something as obvious as possible. HP. HP Incorporated, best known for their electronic products, in February of 2025, a couple days ago as of the initial scripting of this video, decided that instead of having real customer service, they would now implement a 15-minute forced waiting period for telephone support calls. Obviously, they received massive levels of backlash over this, and they've already retracted it, by the way, but they legitimately attempted to insert a policy where customer service calls would be ignored for 15 minutes to try and force people into other, cheaper alternative pathways. They rolled the change out in the UK, Ireland, France, Germany, and Italy before backtracking, but no joke, straight up, the system would lie to the user, saying, quote, we are experiencing longer waiting times and we apologize for the inconvenience. The next available representative will be with you in about 15 minutes. To quickly resolve your issue, please visit our website, support.hp.com, end quote. And the message would be replayed every few minutes as they artificially forced their own customers to wait in a non-existent queue purely to frustrate them into using an objectively worse but cheaper alternative to regular customer service. Support chatbots are garbage. Talking to an actual human, even with a language barrier, is wildly superior to these automated bot programs because you can actually explain what is happening on your side. HP decided, straight up, that instead of focusing on quality or convenience, they would deliberately subvert their own process and make the entire thing objectively worse for their customers. Sure, it's only support calls, but the idea of making something intentionally worse for your own customers is being borne out all across the technology space, because these companies are making their own products, services, and business models deliberately worse for people because profit now supersedes any and all basic morals. Backwards in time, when these companies first began operating, businesses were striving to create better inventions, better products, better things. Things were built to last. Convenience was king, and the products that they offered had real tangible benefits. But over time, they've deliberately and systematically stripped those benefits away, replacing them with intentional inconvenience, manipulation, or inferior design. People do notice this, but at the end of the day, there's not much they can do. Sure, use a competitor or stop using a particular service, but the trend of technology products intentionally getting worse over time is pretty undeniable at this point. Hopefully, that lack of innovation and open disrespect for their own customers will result in better competition. But so far, the big companies are just too powerful to let that be the case, so I guess we'll end up seeing what happens over time. Bottom line, if you feel like technology and the online world is getting worse, it is. You're not going crazy. There's plenty of examples that you can draw from. And it kind of feels like you have to have been alive for at least a couple of decades and sort of witnessed the whole progression. Otherwise, you won't understand it. So, yeah, I don't know. Kids probably don't get that the online world is verifiably going downhill, which is kind of sad. And also, it's going downhill because the attention spans and the way social media operates and the way advertising operates and all this stuff, but whatever. I don't know. You're not going crazy. The online world is absolutely self-immolating at this point. It's sad. That's it. If you want to support the channel, check out the links down below. The video sponsor, of course, Locals and Patreon for monthly memberships, merchandise, social media, etc., etc. But I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching. Question everything, and have a nice night.